Where do we begin? I think that's the goal there, to be honest. That hockey was phenomenal. Oh, we're sponsored by, well, a man can
A
dream.
man can dream,
Wow,
but
Mike.
we're moving on to the second round against the Battle of Alberta. Let's go!
Hey, Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it was. I mean,
St. Louis decided to just blow up completely in the trade deadline.
I wish it wasn't Adam Fox.
It's two juggernauts just colliding with each other. If he doesn't beat Tampa in the first round, he's out of a job.
Isn't that
What?
weird? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast with White T-Dog. B-Dog, my bad. I'm T-Dog, you're B-Dog. And today, we're going to be doing a little mock draft because the NHL draft is almost here, which also means free agency, so that's exciting. But before we can even get into that, might as well do a mock draft, right? Because what else we going to do? All I know is Calgary needs some wingers, and then maybe a center, so maybe we'll draft one. What do you think?
You make some very valid points there, but as T-Dog said, we're in the off season, and why not do our first mock draft with the NHL draft coming up? We thought this would be a fun idea. Yes, I shaved off the beard. I'm looking like a baby face, 16-year-old. Gotta love it, but it's not about that. And this episode is sponsored by Well. A man can dream.
Man can dream that Chicago will somehow not pick who we think he's going to pick.
They're going to
Can't
take
say anything
Fantilli?
because it's draft. I'm thinking Mishkov maybe, you know.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
They got room for 3 years.
Nah, but
Okay.
I think we should just get right into this. So you're going to be obviously switching back and forth from our faces to this, and we are obviously giving both separate mock drafts, and here you'll see our lists as we go. So T-Dog, with the first overall pick, you choose.
All right. The Chicago organization would like to thank the Nashville Predators and the organization for their hospitality, as well as to congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on winning the 2023 Stanley Cup. Our first pick from the Regina Pats of the Western Hockey League, Connor Bedard. Woo! I mean, what else can I say? It's Bedard, generational talent. Probably. I mean, I'm not going to say the next whatever, but he's got the potential to be, the next best player since Crosby, McDavid. So we'll see how that all goes out. Hopefully, someone will trade a bunch of first-round picks so Chicago doesn't get him. But yeah, Chicago has now a new era with a new generational talent. Pretty baller.
Yeah, that is pretty baller. And obviously my first overall pick by the Chicago Blackhawks is Adam Fantilli. No, I'm kidding. It's Connor Bedard. Obviously enough, this man went ham in the WHL last season, going 47 games, 143 points. He is the next generational player that we all expect him to, like Crosby and McDavid, as T-Dog said. And it's simple as that. Now we have to deal with another generational talent in Chicago. Woot. But I guess we'll move on to the second overall pick in this draft by the Anaheim Ducks. They select Adam Fantilli from Michigan. And honestly, if Connor Bedard wasn't in this draft, Fantilli would be the next pick, or like the first overall pick. Let's be honest here. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Fantilli literally just got unlucky because he was born the same year as Bedard, in the sense of not going first overall. Next best thing though, Anaheim getting a player in Fantilli though. That top 6 or that top 3 even is going to be pretty outstanding when everyone gains experience and some age. And then of course if they can get the cap, well, I mean they'll be able to sign them all, I bet. But I think Zegras, McTavish, Fantilli. There's a few more
solid lineup of prospects.
There's a lot. Drysdale, right? The list can keep going on and on. But Anaheim is doing the rebuild correctly, unlike some teams.
Yeah, honestly, exactly. Because you look at Anaheim now, like you said, Fantilli, Zegras, McTavish. Like, it's a deadly lineup of prospects that could turn into an elite lineup of players in the next couple of years. Fantelli played at Michigan for 36 games and he put up 65 points, and that's just insanity in my opinion. T-Dog, I guess we'll move on to the third overall pick, and I'll give it to you.
Okay. The Columbus Blue Jackets would like to say thank you to the Nashville Predators for their warm hospitality. We also like to congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on winning the 2023 Stanley Cup. And we also like to say hello to the greatest fans at home in Columbus, Ohio.
Said no one except Johnny.
That's exactly what they're gonna say.
Yep, pretty much.
Not. Anyways, they're picking Leo Carlsson.
Yep.
And now because in the draft, he definitely is, I think, the third best player to be picked from. And I would say that if Bedard was not in this draft, Carlsson would probably be a high second, or if Fantilli wasn't, maybe even a first round in some, or first overall in some cases. Carlsson will be able to play this season, I believe. I believe he's already got the skill that he'll be able to slot in the fourth line there. He'll right as October starts, he'll be in the Columbus lineup. So, and that's great for Columbus. A lot of young players. Maybe he gets to play with Sillinger. That could be something. So some young guys, gaining some chemistry at an early age, which is perfect, right? So I think that kind of helps out Columbus's case.
Okay. So actually, funny enough, I don't know if we're going to allow this or not, but so the third overall pick, in my opinion, will be traded.
Okay. I was wondering if you were thinking, I'm thinking of this as, a lot of these teams, it's from need. Okay, most of it is pick the best player who's on the board, but some of them, to me, especially in the later rounds, are for position.
Oh yeah, that's me too, though.
But I didn't really think about trade wise. Yeah. Okay. So do you think the Lindholm trade is going to happen, or what?
Oh yeah. So I am confident. We haven't heard anything about Lindholm. He's still deciding. But I'm just saying, during the draft, there is a good possibility he could get traded, and we do get the third overall pick. And I believe if the Flames are the ones who get the third overall pick, we will obviously pick Leo Carlsson from Sweden. Again, another very talented center in this draft class. Like, dude, the lineup of centers in this draft class is absolute nuts. But Leo Carlsson, international, or the SHL, he put up 44 games played with 25 points. A little bit of a down year there, but still very talented, deserves to be third overall in this pick. And I don't have much to say about these three. They're like the obvious three to go off the board first, 100%. But we move on to the fourth overall pick, which San Jose has. And I'm going to be honest, I think they pick up Michkov, the right winger from Russia. There's been a whole bunch of talk with Michkov. If people thinking he's going to drop to 8th overall, 5th overall, like, there's all kind of over the spot. But looking at San Jose's situation of obviously just starting a rebuild, trying to start a rebuild, I think they take Michkov, very young Russian. I think he's 17, almost 18 now, and very talented right winger. And I think he could live up to that hype of a very talented Russian, just like Ovi was and all that sort. So I'm going to take Michkov at 5 here, or at 4, sorry, at 4.
Yes, I also have Michkov going to San Jose. I do think that they're going to be okay with waiting a few years while he, plays his contract out in the KHL. And I think a lot of this could be too because there has been success in that in the league. Kaprizov is a good example in Minnesota, right? Took a few years there and then came, and look how he's been performing with Minnesota. San Jose has no rush to, bring in players to start a winning culture or whatever. And honestly, if it helps, he develops you want them to, of course, to develop in your organization, but that kind of opens up a roster spot if you think about it for other development. So that might help in some ways. But I really don't think San Jose is going to care too much about not forcibly playing, because maybe even if he was not signed to the KHL, maybe he doesn't crack the opening night roster, right? And so maybe he needs more time. So we'll see about that, but I do think San Jose is okay. It seems like Greer is the type of GM that would take a risk like that. And I think you should, because I think in time, the 3 years, it will pay off. So
you make very good points. I don't think San Jose is in really any rush to force this guy into the roster because, like, again, you look at San Jose right now with its obviously aging long contracts. So maybe you don't want to throw him in the lineup of that yet. So give him some time in Russia to develop. I think he will be like a top line right winger for them in the future. I'll give you number 5.
All right. I think Montreal is going to pick Will Smith, the rapper and the actor from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Damn right.
Yeah, so I think Montreal. I think this kind of works out in the sense that Will Smith is, you pick the best player that's up on the board, but at the same time, Montreal probably wants to draft centers. So it kind of just works out in that sense. Committed to Boston College.
Okay, you know what? So this is going to be the very first flip that you and I might do here. So with the 5th overall pick, I think Montreal actually goes for position here, and they take David Rambacher from Austria.
Okay.
Again, you really look at that young potential forwards that Montreal has, and I just don't see them really wanting another center in that, especially when they already got Nick Suzuki and just a lot of loaded forwards in this sense. So it would make sense for them to go for the best defensive player that is there. And I think David fits that package pretty well for them. He's projected to go really high in some of these mock drafts. So honestly, I see them taking the risk of doing that for sure. And then at the 6th overall pick, Arizona picks up Will Smith, in my opinion.
Okay.
Great, again, like you said, great centerman. And obviously, you've looked at Arizona's situation. They're just trying to keep rebuilding and make this better. I think with him and Logan Cooley as those top centers in Arizona will be a really bright future for them. And yeah, it's the best player on the board so far. So obviously, I think they take him.
They get that Connor Ingram contract at a pretty reasonable rate. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? So as much as Arizona isn't really talked about for what's going on in their actual player development, but
I think they're too worried about.
You know what? Arizona will be a better team than they were last year. That's what I think.
True.
So I think it'll also work out when Arizona picks Zach Benson. So that's who I think they're going to pick. Can play all the wings there. And I think as well, right? So there you go, right? Fill out for your center position. I was thinking though too, Arizona might want a defenseman as well, because they seem to be able to grow defensemen pretty well. But I mean, now they have Sean Dursey, so maybe not so much. But yeah, I think you do pick up Benson because again, best forward on the board in the sense of where he is positioning wise, and I think that would be a pretty solid pickup for Arizona. Is it my turn again?
Yeah, you go 7th.
Okay, so then David Reinbacher will go to Philly. So I think Philly is going to be the one that's going to target for a defenseman. And of course, like you said, the best defenseman on this board is Reinbacher. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I can see Philly definitely going for that, especially because you can see they're trying to trade out D'Angelo and things like that. So Danny Briere is actually being smart and starting a rebuild. Come on, Conroy. So in this case, I think it makes sense why you would start going for some defensemen, because I think that's something that's been lacking from this team for a long time. And I don't think there's really much in their prospect pooling that are solid on the D. So that's why you go with Reinbacher.
Oh, okay. Okay. So since I took Reinbacher off for Montreal and I just took Will Smith. So with Philly's pick, I'm actually going to take the right winger from the US of A, Ryan Leonard. So very talented right winger as well. The USA 18 team. He's played 57 games, and I believe he put up over 70 points. And he's a very talented right winger as well. And I think with Philly's rebuilding situation, he's still a great pick, obviously, as well. Probably one of the best right wingers off the board for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So for me, so you went for Philly? Oh, no, I guess it'd be you. Sorry. My bad.
So I guess I'm the 8th pick. So this is Washington. So with Washington's 8th overall pick, wow, that is weird to think of. Washington's at the 8th overall pick now. Oh, God, that's weird to me. So actually, funny enough, I think that they pick up Nate Danielson from the Brandon Wheat Kings. very talented WHL center for sure for the Brandon Wheat Kings, especially this year. He played 68 games and put up 78 points. Very talented two-way. And obviously, I think Washington really needs that since they're kind of, you heard about Backstrom. He obviously isn't with the team anymore. You heard Kuznetsov doesn't want to play there anymore, potentially. So honestly, them drafting a young center like this would make a lot of sense. So I'm going to just end it at that.
Awesome. Okay. For me, Washington's going to go for Dalibor Dvorsky. So a center right wing, young guy, can kind of come in after the old crew starts to kind of lose its wings a little bit. This season in the AIK in the Swedish league, nothing too crazy with 38 games played, 14 points. It was a -19, so that is something to look at. But he did have a pretty solid World Junior Championship when he was with Slovakia there. And there's a lot of potential, being a left shot as well too, being a pretty standard height and weight for what a modern day forward is for that. So there is a lot of room for development, but at the same time though, with time, that could just be a great pickup for Washington and really help with some depth. That's what I think. So, and Dvorsky is most people think he's going to go pretty high, so that's kind of why I wanted to put him there. And it seems like Washington would kind of go for a potential player in the position like Dvorsky who has a lot of potential, and they would want to try to tap into that.
Yeah, honestly, I can't blame you with those Slovakians, man. They're getting good nowadays. Like, it's deadly in this league.
Yeah.
But funny enough, with the 9th overall pick, the Detroit Red Wings select Dvorsky. So funny enough, I put him down one because I think Nate Danielson is a little bit better of the center that Washington's looking for. And I think Dvorsky actually could be the right winger that Detroit is looking for, because obviously you've seen over the last few years, Detroit drafting wingers. It hasn't gone that well. Like, it really hasn't. So maybe Dvorsky drops just into their lap of obviously that perfect role for them. So honestly, I'll just end it off with that.
Cool. Okay, so for me, Ryan Leonard will go to Detroit. That's what I pick.
Okay.
I see. So you talk about that, but if them drafting isn't still working, seems like Yzerman's not the best at drafting for like first round, other rounds for sure. But you're probably gonna want to go for another forward just because you want to keep cracking at it until you finally hit the jackpot with it. And so maybe they think with Ryan Leonard. I mean him going in the top. What are we at now?
We're at 10 now.
9
with St. Louis.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but yeah, so he'd be in the top 10. I can see him being in the top 10.
Oh,
so
St.
Louis, because Ryan Bacher will be picked up already, the next best defenseman will be Sandin Pellikka. So I think they're going to take Axel Sandin Pellikka.
Ooh, wow. Okay, that is.
Yes.
I was unexpecting that. Okay.
I think St. Louis definitely in the sense struggling with defensemen. It's kind of their fault though. You should have signed Pietrangelo. Why did you sign? Anyways, I think that's one thing they're going to try and tap into is get some young defensemen, kind of grow them into their own organization, and I think that Pellikka definitely has the potential. I think in the juniors he had he was pretty noticeable as well. Most people say Vancouver was to get him, so I guess I got Vancouver just getting screwed over a little bit here. Because they're next, right? Who do you have for St. Louis?
Okay, so actually, funny enough, since Dvorsky went to Detroit for me, I think St. Louis obviously goes for the best player on the board so far, and I have Zach Benson dropping to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the difference that you and I had, because now I think St. Louis is just trying to get best off the board. Zach Benson, he actually had a very productive year in the WHL, 60 games played with 98 points. This was a big year for him, especially that's why it's looking like he goes in the top 10. Very talented left winger. A little bit smaller, a little undersized, but again, he'll probably obviously get that growth out of it in the weight room for sure. Very talented. I think they just picked the best player because they got 2 more picks in this round. So for Vancouver. So actually, funny enough with this pick, I don't think they go defenseman with this pick. Okay. I think they go for another best on the board. Oliver Moore, centerman, USA. I think you also got to look at Vancouver's situation of who do you really have at center other than Elias Pettersson as prospects, per se? And I think obviously Oliver Moore is probably one of the better centers left on the board. And obvious pick, in my opinion. He played 23 games and put up 25 points. So that's pretty impressive on its own. Anyways, I think he goes right off the board for Vancouver since they couldn't get the defenseman that they wanted.
For sure. Okay, so for me, Vancouver's going to pick up Colby Barlow. So he's a left winger.
Ooh.
And, with Owen Sound attack, pretty impressive points here. 59 games played, 79 points, 46 goals. Who's a goal scorer? I think they're going to want to go for some wingers because, look who they're trying to get rid of cap-wise. You're trying to get rid of JT Miller. You're trying to get rid of Connor Garland. You're trying to get rid of Brock Besser, right? So you're getting, a lot of your forward depth away. So you probably want to bring it in with some nice young guys who, one, if you can get them in now, they're a cheaper deal. And two, right, you grow them and you want this ability of scoring. I think Pettersson would love someone who could be with him on a line who can, get the points as well, right, and get the goals.
Yeah.
So could Colby Barlow be a Besser replacement? I'm not saying he could, but he possibly could, right? So that's why I think they're going to take Colby Barlow. Arizona.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds here. Yes, okay. I think Arizona then takes a defenseman. Because I think then with how many picks they have, I think they're like, well, you know what? Then you pick for position a little bit. Again, Arizona it seems to be good with developing defensemen, so maybe this works out, but it'd be Tom Willander.
Hey, you and I both got one right.
All right, let's go,
I got him as well there. I think 100% since they obviously picked a forward there, I think they 100% go defenseman here. 100%.
Yeah, so Willander, in 39 games played, had 4 goals, 21 assists, 25 points, and was a +7. That's always good to see a defenseman being in the plus-minus or in the plus and the plus-minus range. Right shot defenseman too. Now that's gold. He's a right shot defenseman. That is gold. I could see someone possibly trading around to try and get a pick around this time to maybe get someone like this because a right shot is important and is rare to come by.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So that's something.
Okay. That's funny.
And especially if he's puck moving too, maybe Quinn Hughes-esque a little bit. That's pretty promising. So I like the sound of that.
I actually do as well. I don't really have to say much because you and I got the same pick right there as Tom Willander goes off the board. And we look at the 13th overall pick with Buffalo. So Buffalo has a lot of options here. And honestly, I think they're going to take Matthew Wood, right winger from Canada. He played in the Gretzky Cup. He played 5 games and put up 5 points. So pretty impressive right winger. He's a little bit smaller, as we said, but again, that never really stops anyone in this scenario. And why not add it to the list of great forward prospects that Buffalo already has in this point? So I'm going to go Matthew Wood at 13th overall.
Okay, so Buffalo, the one I'm going to choose here, I haven't said, but you've already said, and is probably going a little lower than maybe he will, but I said Oliver Moore.
Oh,
he'll pick him up. Left shot center, like you said. I think you already put out his stats there, but 25 points, 23 games there, 8 goals, 17 assists with the development team in the United States, plus 15 as well. I think Buffalo, they're pretty, it seems like they're pretty promising on the forward end, so maybe a defenseman later down the road in the draft.
Yeah.
But I think that's, you pick the best player on that board still, and I think that is, that's more in that sense. So yeah, that's what I have. And then Pittsburgh. Then I say Matthew Wood goes. I think Pittsburgh gets Matthew Wood.
Okay.
And knowing how Pittsburgh is with just any sort of type of scouting, prospect development, Matthew Wood is going to become some sort of like Jake Gensel. So we'll see how that works, but
that's believable.
You pick the best, but a left winger. Ship him in, get him ready for the next era once the Crosby era is gone. So that could be possible. That possibly could be a good pick.
Yeah, 100%. Then we jump. Yeah, I guess it's my turn with Pittsburgh. So funny enough, I think Pittsburgh also chooses forward in this one, but I'm actually going to go with Andrew Crystal.
Crystal, okay.
Yeah, Crystal. In his WHL last year, he put up with 54 games, he put up 95 points with the team. That is a very impressive stat still to put in the WHL. I think, like you said there, he'll be a really Jake Gensel kind of player. And knowing Pittsburgh, they develop their wingers very well. And yeah, I think he, instead of Matthew Wood in this sense, they just take Andrew Crystal. Simple as that.
Cool. So
Back to me again?
Oh, it would be, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I guess
Nashville.
I'm Nashville now. So actually, funny enough, so you actually took this player off the board because he was the best defenseman there, and I'm actually going to take Axel Sundin this time. So
Okay.
yeah, so honestly, second best defenseman off the board, very talented, sweet as well, and I think after what you saw with Nashville, since they committing to a little bit of a rebuild, they got rid of Elcombe, and I think now they just want that really good defensive prospect to grow for their future. And I think Axel reads them all the way. So I'm going to go Axel at 15.
Cool.
Who's your 15?
So Andrew Crystal's on the board still, so I put him for Nashville. Now that I look at that, that's very Calgary's in that range, man. 95 points, that's awesome. Almost a 40-goal score, plus 18. You know, that's pretty solid. Love the Rockets jersey. Yeah, Crystal, I think it's going to be great for any type of rebuilding team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he could crack. I don't know if he could crack the opening night roster. Maybe he goes back to the juniors for another year. But yeah, best forward on that board still. I like that. But then it's Calgary's turn.
So okay.
Although I think Crystal would be great, but he will probably be picked already. I picked Nate Danielson for Calgary. Now I picked him really low compared to what you did. And I did not realize that.
Yeah, I picked him really high up. I'm not gonna lie. He had a really good year.
78 points, so 33 goal scorer. So there is that. A right shot, fun. 185 at 6'2", and a center. We need centers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that really is.
So I do think that Danielson would fit well with Calgary. I'm guessing Danielson will go back to the juniors and then maybe play like a year after that with the Wranglers and then come up. So maybe that's probably about a 3-year type of ordeal.
Yeah, that would be right for the.
But I think Danielson very much has a lot of potential to be a center that we need. We need that, right? And again, much better to grow them than to buy them out and max out a contract that's going to screw you over later.
Fair enough.
So who do you have our Calgary Flames picking, good sir?
So I guess if we don't count the trade idea, and this is Calgary's pick and they don't trade up, I actually have them taking Braden Yager.
Okay.
From the Moose Jaw Warriors, he in his WHL season, he put up in 67 games played, he put up 78 points. I really like this center. If he drops this low to us and we pick him up, I will actually love this. He's a very talented center, great hockey IQ, great vision, great hands. And I think that's really what we need, that explosive centerman. And dude, this guy's so good. I actually really hope we pick him because I was he played in the Gretzky Cup, which I was watching a little bit, and I watched him play for a bit. So I was like, wow, this guy is good. So if anything, if Calgary doesn't trade up, we should go for Braden Yager. He'll be I think he'll come up like in 2 years. Like he'll grow quick, but yeah, that's who I have Calgary picking. If Detroit 17th overall pick, this is where Colby Barlow falls to me. So yeah, Colby Barlow, I think with Detroit's more of taking more risks with the forwards again in this scenario. So I think they go with Colby Barlow. In his OHL season with the Owen Sound Attack, he played 59 games and put up 79 points. That is very impressive as well for this youngster. a talented left winger as well. And I think obviously Detroit is still looking for that right match at a winger point. So I think they take another risk and go for this guy.
Yeah, so like I was saying with Detroit, Jaeger will fall to them and may work in their favor. I think it's the same thing with who they picked in Leonard. They haven't had the greatest success in the sense of drafting in the first round, so you probably just keep shooting for the stars and hopefully you hit, and hopefully you hit with someone like Jaeger. So that's why. Then Winnipeg getting Gabe Perreault. So on Tankathon, he says he's supposed to go 15. He's a right wing from the U.S. development team, and 5'11", 165 pounds there. How Winnipeg, though, gonna definitely want to get some forwards. Definitely too. And if that Pierre-Luc Dubois trade does happen, and so, the return might be someone like Gabe Vilardi, that kind of works out. Maybe you're putting him on a line with like Vilardi, for example, right? So you're definitely going to want to start, drafting some players that you think can play, develop it pretty soon. And Perreault seems to kind of have that identity to be in a position to soon play, if not now, later.
Okay, I see. So that's interesting. So for Winnipeg, actually, I think the 18th overall pick I think they select Samuel
Honzek?
Yeah. I think, that's how you say it. From the Vancouver Giants in the WHL, he played 43 games and put up 56 points. I think this would be a good fit since obviously Blake Wheeler wants to leave, Mike Scheib, Winnipeg is rebuilding pretty soon here, and they're trying to probably make some big trades soon. And I think a winger like this will also add to the great prospects that they potentially will have in the future. So, yeah, start it off with Samuel.
Cool. So, Chicago. I have the Blackhawks getting Quentin Musty. Now, Musty also is someone who's been highly talked about as maybe going even higher in the draft. So if he doesn't, he falls this low as I think he will, then Chicago's going to get another great player in this draft. Could you imagine just in this draft, Bedard and Musty are like what, your starting lineup in like 4 years?
Oh my God.
Dude, what if I just called that right now? That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, for Sudbury, 78 points, plus 16, 26 goals, 52 assists in 53 games. Yeah. So he knows how to get the puck and shoot it.
He's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah. So Chicago. That'd be right back to success.
Chicago.
Even better. So who do you have, buddy?
Okay, so actually you just took this guy off the board. So actually I think Chicago steals this guy and they get Gabriel Perlant.
Oh, Perreault? Okay.
Yeah, so honestly, dude, that would be an absolute steal of a first round if they get these two players for sure. He played with the national U18 team, 63 games played, 132 points. Wow, that's impressive, actually. You could see even he playing with Bedard in a couple of years, and that would just be another Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane scenario. And it would actually be really great for Chicago. I think they would legit win the draft if that works the way it does. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gabriel right there. And then I guess it's my turn with 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's my turn. Ooh, Seattle. Okay. I'm going to say that Seattle picks up a defenseman, and they're going with Dmitry Simashev from Russia. Yeah, so with the fourth defenseman off the board, Dmitry, the most games he's played in the last little bit is in the MHL with 29 games played with 10 points. Kind of lackluster a little bit in the point differential, but again, you're a defenseman. It's not always about that, but I think Seattle is really looking for some defensive prospects. They're not the strongest at defensive prospects in Seattle, but with this pick, I think it will definitely help for sure. So I'm going to go with Dmitry here.
So my pick for Seattle, same as you, Simashev. So yeah, I do think they'll go for a defenseman. That's probably I think it's next on their list to obtain. I mean, what they have right now is solid, but you want to just keep having options to pick from, especially when cap cap compliancy has to occur, and you have to ship guys out, and you want to make room for someone. And I think Simashev has the ability to become a pretty solid defenseman at what his ability to do is. So, Minnesota. You already picked this player. Now I'm going to pick Minnesota to pick him up, and that's going to be Samuel Honzek. So I think it was a little lower, but you know what? Minnesota, yeah, they probably want a center.
Oh, okay.
Definitely want some forwards, to I would say complement the young team, somewhat of the young team that they're trying to obtain. I mean, not really trying to. You kind of get what I mean in the sense, like,
yes, I
young
understand.
guys and Matthew Boldy and young guys and Kirill Kaprizov, right? So I think you kind of want to add that as well. So maybe Honzek's the idea of maybe becoming like a third line center there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have actually a different pick from Minnesota. So for their 21st overall pick, they actually go with Riley Heidt, the centerman from the Prince George Cougars. In this season's WHL, he played 68 games and put up 97 points. They actually had him a little bit lower on the mock drafts, but compared to all the centers that are really left in the draft, I thought this had the biggest ceiling for really good player. So
Okay,
I think Riley Heidt drops or goes right to Minnesota, especially when you were saying with how talented their wingers are with Boldy and Kaprizov. And I think honestly, this is a great center that they could build around in the future for sure. So I guess that goes to me again in 22 with the Philadelphia Flyers again. Okay. So with this one, I'm actually going to select Home Richie. Yeah. From the OHL.
I got the stats here if you need.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Callum Richie's a center. He's shoots right. 6'02", weighs 185. 59 games played last season, 24 goals, 35 assists, points 59. With a +1 was on 35 penalty minutes. So scoring ability there as well too. Can get the apples, so maybe a bit of a playmaking ability there as well. Right shots are hard to come by as well, and it's always nice to have a skillful right shot. And in Philly's case, you want to start stacking up your roster with young guys to start filling up your top and bottom six.
I think this really does give Philly that kind of good start for a center, like good prospects for a center and a right wing, especially with Richie there. And you mentioned he is a point per game player. And I think I think this is a good fit for Philly and finally getting that forward prospect pool really going. So I guess that's back to you. Who did you have in the 22nd overall?
Okay, so for Philadelphia, I never said, but yeah, Callum Richie was my other pick. That's why.
Okay, I see. Okay,
yeah.
Then that's back to you at 23. Then.
Yeah. Okay. So now that I think about it, maybe New York doesn't go for a defenseman, but maybe I think they do because Adam Fox is your all-star. You're gonna want to keep Lindgren. Probably same with Schneider and things like that, and but you probably gonna eventually want to. I think they're gonna stick with the defenseman here, and they're gonna go for Mikhail Gulyev.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So looking at Mikhail Gulyev's season, 25 points in 22 games, with Omsky, Yasterby, and the MHL.
Okay.
It was a +12. A left shot, a 5'10", and weighs 172 there. So bit of puck moving ability there. That's pretty nice. Would probably complement a second pairing when he's in his prime there. Because Adam Fox, of course, is going to be in your first. Maybe the new era is two puck moving defensemen on the same pairing. Maybe, right? So I think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. So actually, funny enough, you said this name already. So I think the Rangers actually go for another forward. I think they go with Quentin Musty.
Oh, okay.
From the OHL, he put up 78 points in 53 games played. If you're really looking into the future of the Rangers, they could might be losing a lot of wingers here. So honestly, the right pick in a left winger here might be a little bit of a reach, especially when you look at the defensive prospects as well. But I think they do actually take the risk here and take Musty at the 23rd pick.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So
So
then Nashville, good sir.
yeah, I guess Nashville. So with Nashville, second pick in the first round, I actually have them taking a center, and Otto Steinberg from Sweden. Another Swede coming off the board, another centerman. Otto Steinberg going to the Nashville Predators, another centerman. I think, again, a trade just happened the other day with Ryan Johansson getting sent to Colorado. And I think they're going to fill up another centerman spot with Steinberg. Steinberg in the J20 National, he played 38 games and put up 35 points. Another very talented center going off the board here. And yeah, like I said, I think Nashville's really trying to fill up those center prospects, and I think Steinberg might go a little bit higher here.
Okay, for sure.
Then on to you, sir.
Yeah, so Nashville is going to pick someone who you've already talked about, and I think it's going to be Riley Heidt.
Yeah.
And Height's stats are absolutely outstanding. Didn't even realize that. 25-72 for 97 points. Was a -3 in 68 games. 5'10" is a left shot. And I think that's what Nashville probably wants to add more into their prospect pooling is, of course, some forwards. It could be a steal.
It really could, actually.
It could very much be a steal. So Height going to Nashville to me would make sense because it seems like Nashville likes to kind of grab pretty solid young prospects. Chandler Jeannot is a good example before he got traded for everything. Everything. What a trade, man.
What a trade that was.
Oh, Tampa Bay.
Okay, I guess it's back to you.
Yeah.
Number 25.
You just talked about Otto Stenberg. I think St. Louis is going to get him. On Tankathon, they say they get Callum Ritchie, but Stenberg, right, would be that next best center who hasn't been picked yet. And Stenberg doesn't seem like he has a lot of promise as well. And Swedes, they seem to like to go to places like St. Louis. So Otto Stenberg goes to St. Louis. Who do you think?
Okay, so actually, funny enough, you did have a defenseman go off for St. Louis in the earlier rounds, right? They did pick up that defenseman for you?
Reinbacher, yes.
Yeah, okay, so funny enough, this is where I think...
Sorry, Sandine Pellica, my bad.
Yeah, Alex, yeah, I remember. Okay, so actually, funny enough, this is where I think St. Louis takes a defenseman here in Oliver Blanc.
Okay.
From the London Knights. In this season, he played 67 games played with 40 points. And I think, like we mentioned before, with St. Louis kind of scrapping all their defense right now, and this, I think, is a really good pick for them. So this is where I have actually San Jose picking up Delaney Butt.
Okay. 26 games played, 15 goals, 11 assists for 26 points, was a plus 11. That's good to hear. A right shot.
Yeah, another right shot
going on. Right shot, right? So forward, that's definitely something that San Jose probably wants.
They really like that.
They really do.
Yeah,
they really do. Yeah.
Yeah,
they like the Europeans too. So
that's kind of shocking too. The idea that a right winger would prefer playing left winger.
I mean, when I played hockey, I liked it. Think of it. Ovi's a right shot left wing.
Then why didn't Jonathan Huberdeau?
Dude, we don't. Don't bring this season in here, man. Don't do that.
That's for Flames talk. Sorry,
that's for Sutter to answer. Whenever we get him on for an interview, we'll be like, Mr. Sutter.
Oh my god!
Why did he not put Huberdeau in his natural habitat?
Yeah. Oh my god, that's pretty funny, honestly. Yeah. It's instinct. I wanted to see how his instincts are.
Something like that.
My god. Okay, so now it's you.
Oliver Bont goes to San Jose.
Ooh,
that's what I think. You know what? Now I've been thinking about it. Do they pick the defense? I mean, they probably do want to start stacking up on the defenseman side a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now I could see them maybe going forward because Mishkov ain't going to come in for 3 years, so maybe you want to possibly pick a winger to fill in that gap for the 3 years if possible. Because I don't really know how. I mean, But it just depends, right? Like, I mean, I think they're I think I'm gonna say they go for Bonk. I'm gonna say that. I think they haven't picked a defenseman yet, so I think that's where they pick him.
Huh.
I think Colorado is gonna go for Gavin Brindley. That's who they're gonna get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a right winger. Let me quickly grab up the stats here. Colorado, yeah, add up the forward depth. Just kind of keep adding on to it as you have other older players come out, especially players that you can't afford anymore. You probably want to bring in some young talent. So that's probably what it is. All right. Gavin Brindley's points from Florida. That's kind of cool. So it was a center's a right shot and was with a Tri-City Storm, or sorry, no, it was in the University of Michigan there. 38 points in 41 games played. So it is a plus 21. So good things happen when his line's on.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good stat to look at there. And then I'm next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Daniil Butt goes to Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Like Toronto, because Tankathon says they get height. Height's going to be picked, in my opinion. So they're probably still going to go for a winger. And yeah, Butt's going to be that winger. That's what I think. Who do you have?
So I'm actually going to say that Toronto, with their pick, they actually pick up Edward Sale, left winger from Czech Republic.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that in his Czech U18, he put up 43 games played, 14 points. Very smooth. And again, another great winger that I think Toronto needs to add to the prospect pool, honestly enough. Fair enough there. And I guess that's back to me again at 29th. God, St. Louis has 3 picks, right? Oh my God, that's freaking nuts. All right. Okay, so actually, funny enough now, I think that St. Louis picks off Charlie Stumman off the board. In his NCAA season, he played 33 games, put up 15 points. Another talented guy going off center. Played at Wisconsin. Ooh, so I think St. Louis will load up on the forwards as well. I think they will go pretty best off the board situation here. So I'll stick with that. And back to you, sir.
Okay, so St. Louis, and I think this guy's going to be a bit of a stud. Bradley Nadeau. Played for the Penticton Vs. Do you want to hear his stats here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, 54 games played. Over or under 100 points?
What?
Over or under 100 points? What do you think?
And how many games, sorry?
54.
Oh my God, I got a weird feeling over.
113, 45 goals, 68 assists.
Yeah, I figured.
So that Vs team that was standing, by the way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I think if I'm correct, the Nadeau brothers, there's like 3 of them. I think the goalie is also one of the brothers as well. Very talented, very young, hungry team, very speedy, very skillful, right? Very much up and coming NHL type beat. St. Louis will probably get a stud in that, right?
Yeah.
Will he play with Kyrou? Maybe we'll see. But I do think he's gonna go up there. I think he might be one of those steals, especially how like low he's gonna go. But he might go higher, right? But I think in that position right now, Nadeau is gonna go there. Now that I say it, that was a player I forgot to look at was Edward Sale. Because I was like, whose name am I missing? Now I feel like I have to you know what? It's whatever.
He goes he goes early second round.
Early second, that's what I'm doing. Okay, Carolina?
Yeah.
They're gonna go for Tanner Molendyke.
Ooh.
Defenseman for the Saskatoon Blades. 37 points in 67 games. It was a plus 31.
That's pretty good.
That's promising.
That's very promising.
Left shot defenseman, 6 foot, 182. So yeah, that's good things happen when he comes on. Carolina, I think they're gonna want to, I think as Jacob Slavin ages, and as some of their defense core does, and they're gonna have to probably trade out some of their defense core. Like I think Pesci's probably out. You're gonna probably want to eventually replace those players, with some young prospects. So I think Molendyk it might be someone that they look at to kind of replace that when the time comes. So I think that's why they're going to take Tanner Molendyk.
Okay, so actually, funny enough, in Carolina's sense, I am in the right situation as you, as they do pick up a defenseman. But the defenseman they take is Lucas Dragovic.
Okay.
From the Tri-City Americans. So this is a very offensive defenseman. He played 68 games with the Americans. He put up 75 points as a offensive defenseman. And as you mentioned before with Carolina, they obviously have an aging kind of defense pairs. Well, if Brett Burns, you mentioned Jacob Slavin, and so on and so forth. But dude, this could be a real big steal as a late first rounder, 100%. So
very much so.
I have Lucas going instead of Tanner.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so then it goes back to me again, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Montreal with the 31st pick. So actually, I have them picking right winger Ethan Guenther.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously I thought about it because I thought about them getting another defenseman, but I was just like, nah, they already got their defenseman. I think they want Ethan Guenther as a right winger. I think this will be another steal in the late first round. With the Phoenix in the QMHL, he played 66 games and put up 70 points. So very productive right winger for sure. And I think just adding a guy like another Canadian boy like that to Montreal will be a great pick for them. So I'll stick with that. Now it's on you.
So Montreal, this is one of those examples of picking for position.
Yeah.
The first goalie, there will be one goalie. I'm saying it. Thank you. This shout out to the hockey guy. He's kind of persuaded me on this because he made a video about this goaltender. I think that Montreal, as I lose my sheet of paper here, but I think Montreal is going to pick him because, well, their positioning with goaltending is in a weird standpoint, of course, because Carey Price is injured and might probably never come back and play hockey again, unfortunately. Montembeault is pretty good for what he has been, but they probably want to eventually, get that backup goalie spot to someone they can for sure trust. So I think Michael Hrabal. There we go. Okay, I said that. So I think Michael Hrabal is going to be their pick. So last season, with the Omaha Lancers in the USHL, he played 31 games. His percentage was a .908. 9 wins, 13 losses, 7 ties. So not the best stats. Of course, a lot of win-loss stats are really just because of how the team plays, right?
It's not based on the goaltender.
So shoots left. Oh yeah, so yeah, right blocker, left glove. That makes sense. Yeah. 6'6", so tall guy. It weighs at almost 210, 209. Type of guy. So especially goalie, you want a little bit of height there. So I think there's a little bit of promising with Hrabal. There we go. I keep mispronouncing the name, but Michael Hrabal. So I think Montreal is going to pick him. That's what I think.
Okay.
And then for Vegas, you just picked him recently there, and I think they're going to pick up, and I think he's going to go in the first round instead of the second round, like what Tankathon says, and it's going to be Ethan Gauthier goes to the Vegas Golden Knights. So let me look at Gauthier's stats here. Okay, so Ethan Gauthier, right wing, and is a right-handed shot. 5'11", weighs 175, and last season with the Sherbrooke Phoenix in the QMJHL, 69 points, nice, on 66 games. So Lemieux number right there, is going to be like Lemieux. 30 goals, so he's a goal scorer and 39 assists, plus 29. Good things happen when he's on the ice. So 39 goals, 40 goal scores, got that scoring touch. Vegas, they can score. But hey, why not grab even more goal scorers, right? So
yeah,
I think that'd be a decent little pick up there from Vegas. And you probably don't have him play for a few years, but by the time he is ready, then Vegas will probably have some room on their forward roster spot to get a young guy in. So that's who I think is going to go for number 32.
Okay. So actually, I took a different appearance to this, and you took them off the board already. I think Vegas goes with the defenseman to end off the first round of the 2023 draft. I think they take Tanner Molendyke.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they take him from the Saskatoon,
Saskatchewan.
the WHL, 67 games played, 37 points. Again, I think another two-way defenseman is what they need in their prospect pool. And I think that's really how they end off the draft. And hey, guys, that's our mock draft.
What do y'all think? How
What do you
wrong were we?
Yeah,
Guess
literally.
you won't know until Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess you won't know until Wednesday. So, how are you guys excited for the draft? If you are, leave a thumbs up, drop a comment. Who do you think your mock draft's going to be? And T-Dog, take it away.
Like B-Dog said, thank you very much for listening, watching, however you are consuming this content. If you did enjoy, smash that like button, leave comments. Wow.
You're good. You're good.
Wow. Leave a like if you liked it. Drop a comment in the comment box below. And question, you should just keep this in, man. And question of the day for you. Any of these picks that we picked, how outrageous are they? I have a feeling some of the defenseman ones might be not outrageous, but they'll be like, maybe they should have gone here. I do think St. Louis and Vancouver are probably looking for defensemen.
Yeah.
Gotta help with Quinn Hughes somehow. Anyway, boys, hope you guys are doing good. Keep on rocking in the free world, like Nunworth said, and we will see you guys in the next one. Happy draft day, happy Canada Day, happy free agency. Let's get it. Take care, guys. Peace.